Coming from Atlanta all the way to Indiana with cars by cage sipes. I'm major, damn right. On stages, popping collars, I'm making a bigger dollar. When the engine holler, the women follow to see the problem. See, he got Impalas the same color as pollen, and I ain't got.
What's up, everybody? This is Cape Sipes from Custom Audio Reimagined, coming at you with another product review. In my last review, I introduced you to a company called Genius Audio out of South America. Today we're going to talk about their DSPs. This is their 6-channel DSP. Over here is their 8-channel DSP. DSP is a digital signal processor. If you've watched my reviews before, you know I did a review on the Rockford Fosgate DSR1. That is also a DSP. Digital signal processor, basically what it does is it takes the analog signals in. It has microprocessors inside of it, basically a computer that will process the sound, crossovers, slopes, equalizer on a digital setting, and then it will convert it back to analog and send it out RCA so it can go to your amplifiers. Now the main differences between these two units, the 6-channel is computer interface and also Bluetooth. The 8-channel is computer interface but has a dashboard control so that you can actually change your settings, but it's not Bluetooth. What I mean by Bluetooth is you can use your phone to actually make all the adjustments on the fly of your head unit, or of your DSP. Why this is nice is while you're sitting in the driver's seat, you can actually be sitting there and adjusting the sound while you're sitting there listening, so you know the adjustments you're making are what you want, as opposed to just doing them on the computer, kind of hoping, or having a computer strung with a USB running through your car to the back of the car where your DSP is and trying to do that. The 8-channel with its dash mount basically lets you do the same thing, but what it is you do all the presets with the computer. So you may have to sit in the car with your computer, with your laptop, do all your settings so you get it the way you sound. Then you can save each one of those as a preset. Then from the handheld, or from the dash mount, you can actually click and select your presets like A, B, C, and D. So you can have A set up for sound quality or classical music, B set up for rap, dubstep, whatever, and so on, and then those are your best sounding settings for that type of music. First up is going to be the 6-channel. There's really no way for me to video show you DSPs as far as them working. I can show you their functionality, but as far as them working, that's all sound related. The chipsets and most of these are all the same. It's going to work, it's going to do what it's supposed to do. It's a pretty simple process as far as if the crossover works and doesn't work, and all these crossovers work, the EQ works, everything in here is fine. It actually does, the DAT inside of it's fine, the digital analog converter is fine. I got no noise or humming when I had it hooked up. The biggest thing that you guys are going to want to know about is what kind of features does it have and how do I interface with those features, which is what I'm going to show you on this video. Let's go ahead and show you what you have to do when you get these products first, because there are a few steps before you're able to actually use them. I'll show you what you need to do, and then the CD-ROM, you'll load it up on the computer, you'll get the software up there, and then I'll show you how to interface into the DSP. So let's go ahead and get this started. One of the nice things about the unit is it does have high-low level. So this is where you would go if you wanted to hook up your factory stereo system. You've got your front, rears, and you hook up your factory speaker leads right in here. This thing also has multiple remote outs for amplifiers. So come in here with your factory speaker leads. It's going to take the signals in, turn them into a digital signal, allow all the crossovers, all your settings to happen, and then they're going to pop right out, right here, the RCA outs. It has 6-channel outs. So this has front, rear, and sub out. This is your Bluetooth dongle. It's a USB Bluetooth dongle. You plug it in, that's how you're able to communicate with this thing Bluetooth. Then you take your cell phone. It's powered up right now, so the app is there. We can go in here and find it. The app is right there, the GDSP. So we go ahead and click on that. You can see it's loading. And then it will say online on the side, and that means it's connected. We got a little green light up here, it means we're online. You have a master volume, goes from 0 up to 46. As far as using the master volume on this unit, I would imagine you would put this up either at 75% or max. You'd have to put it on a scope to see if it clips out, Normally max is not a great thing on anything, so I would probably go up to 75% and then just leave the master volume there, because you're obviously going to use your head unit as your volume. Hit advanced. It's going to ask for a password. It's 24680. So when you go ahead and you hit the password, type in 24680, hit sure, and now we've opened up into all the different screens for the crossovers. So you have channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5, channel 6. You can set channel 1 to be front left full, tweeter, woofer, or full. Channel 2, same thing. Channel 3, same thing. All those you have the option. Channel 5 and 6 you can set as subwoofers, or you can set them as tweeter, woofer, or full. So it's pretty simple as far as that goes. You can set, if you want it 180 degrees or 0 degrees in phase, and you can actually set the volumes on them. So you can mute each channel. So if you're setting up in your car and you only want to hear the front, you can mute these rear and subwoofer channels and then actually just do adjustments on that. Slide over to the right, and now we're into the EQ portion. Up at the top you've got channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, all of your different channels where you can set the equalizer. You can bypass the EQ, you can go into professional EQ mode, and you can independently turn up between 12 dB and negative 12 dB each EQ curve. The EQ settings are anywhere you want them to be, because you can set it. So like right now it's at 31 Hertz, 65 Hertz, 125, 250. So that's each band that I can adjust. But if I click on the 65 Hertz, I can set the frequency. So I can slide this and make it 52 Hertz if I want. Click sure. Now I'm pinpointing at 52 Hertz when I set that EQ. I can set the Q factor. Your Q factor can be set between 28.852 all the way down to 0.404. Now if you don't know what the Q factor is basically, think of it as the width of the frequency. So if I'm going to adjust 30 Hertz, and this is my little wave right here, in the middle is 30 Hertz. And when I turn up 30 Hertz, the wave goes up, and when I turn down 30 Hertz, it kind of flattens out. Well, if I adjust the Q factor makes it wider. So then when I adjust 30 Hertz, it kind of comes up like this. Instead of coming up at that peak at 30, it's going to start adjusting more like 25 and 35 and going up and down. And if you make your Q factor more narrow, you're pinpointing more just on that frequency. This has a 10-band EQ. So 1 through 10 is your EQ. Click at the bottom here, you got output, that's where we were before. Click crossover, and now I can set the crossovers for each channel. And you can decide what kind of crossover you want to have. You got link with Riley, bezel, or butterworth. You can also set if you want to have a 6 dB or 12 dB crossover. On like channel 1, I can set the crossover high pass, and I can set it at 12 dB with link Riley and put it at 80 Hertz, or I can slide the slider and set it anywhere I want. I can set it at 42 Hertz high pass, and then I can take the low pass and I can set it anywhere from 20,000 Hertz to anywhere I want. So I can put it at 129 if I want. So right now that crossover is high pass 42 Hertz, low pass 129. I've just created a bandpass crossover network. So now my speaker is only going to play from 42 to 129. Bandpass crossovers, pretty nice because you can kind of lock in your speaker from just playing all the way up to 20,000 Hertz when they're not supposed to. And that's how all these are. So all channels here can be a bandpass crossover. Then you have set delay. Set delay is something that most people aren't going to mess with. This is more for the sound quality guys or the really hardcore audio guru guys. What that is because the left speaker is closer to your left ear and your right speaker is farther away from your right ear, what you can do is you can slow down the time that the left speaker plays compared to the right speaker. In theory, what you're doing is you're slowing down the sound wave. So the wave from the left speaker will hit your left ear the same time the sound wave from the right speaker hits your right ear, which creates a center focus. It makes your brain think that the sound is all coming from right in the middle of your dashboard. That's what time delay is used for, is to slow down or to speed up the sound waves. And you do it by milliseconds, This one lets you do it by centimeters, milliseconds, or by inches. And you just go in there and click on it and you can set the delay. It's pretty simple. Most people aren't going to mess with that, but if you're an IASCA competitor or a sound quality guy, you guys are really into that, and that's beyond what I get into. I'm not into all that. My ears aren't that good anymore because I'm a bass head, so I can't hear the difference. But it's nice to have. Up here at the top, you can reset the password if you like, which I would suggest you do, and you can exit. Once you exit out, then it's pretty much done. It's locked in. And you can also, I guess I skipped over that, once you have this all the way you want it, you can save by clicking that. You go back, you hit the back key, you'll go back to the main screen, and then you click this little empty box down here. You'll click that and it'll say save. So I can hit save and then name it, and I can call it, whatever I want. I'll call it hip hop, and that's my hip hop EQ settings and everything I love. Hit save, and saving it, you'll see on the load screen there, that's all going to the box right now. It's locking in the information, and now I have hip hop there as a box. So I could sit there and hit hip hop, hit recall, and now it's going to change all my settings in my stereo system to that. That is the Bluetooth setting. To do the computer, you're going to have your CD-ROM that comes with the units. Put them in your CD-ROM drive. Go ahead, click it in. As it loads up, it's going to pop up and say, right here, open folders. Once the CD-ROM opens up, you're going to see two folders. One is going to say GDSP 4800, the other is going to say GDSP 2600B. The 2600 is the 6 channel, the 4800 is the 8 channel. Go ahead and click on the 2600 since we're doing the 2600. You'll see the GDSP 2600B executable file, and then right below it here you'll see an Android version 1.05 APK. That is the app for your phone. You need to take that, put it on a USB or a flash drive, and then put it in your phone. Install that from this folder to your phone, and you'll have the app on your phone for the Bluetooth. So we go ahead and click the executable file. And right now there's a USB coming from this computer going to the PC software plug on the DSP. So there's a USB running between the two. So as we open this executable file, the software is going to look for the DSP. It's going to see it on the USB network, and then it will actually create a link, and it'll say online, and you'll have a green light on the software. Once the software loads up, you're going to see down here in the green, it'll say online. If it's not connected to the unit, it'll say offline. If it pops up and tells you connection failure, you have to disconnect your Bluetooth first. It can't be connected to the Bluetooth on your phone and connected to the computer at the same time. On the app, upper right hand corner, you click that, it'll drop down, it'll say exit. Click exit, then you'll have no problem connection right here with the computer. So just remember that if you're getting connection failure, it's because your phone is still linked up to the Bluetooth, and obviously you can't have two devices making changes at the same time. So this is basically what you get when you do the software. The Bluetooth had different pages. Everything on here is one page. There's nothing but this screen right here. So you have your EQ. Right here's channel 1, or right here's 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10, the EQs that we were talking about, the EQ curves that you can select. Right here's where you can change the frequencies, so I could type in whatever frequency I want. I put 657, see how it moved over here to the 657 area. You see this little bubble right here? Well, if I make the Q factor higher, it'll actually get wider. So I'll make that 4. Actually, I was going backwards. If you make it lower, it'll make it wider. So I made it 1. Now you see how wide that Q factor is. Now if I go up to 8, you see how narrow the Q factor becomes. So if I adjust this frequency now, that small peak is really dialed into that frequency as opposed to being a wide spread. Down here's your EQ, you got EQ reset, then you got professional EQ mode. GEQ mode I imagine is generic EQ mode. I've lost the ability to set my frequencies. I've lost the ability to do Q factor. The only thing I can do is do gain. That's all I can do. These are locked in at 31, 65, 125, 250, etc. This is if you don't want to deal with the Q factor and you don't want to deal with frequencies, you just want a simple equalizer, that's what that is. Now if we go into professional EQ mode, now we regain all those options where we can actually adjust the Q factor and the frequencies. So depending on if you're a professional or a novice, you'll click that to decide. Up in the right hand corner here, here's our time delays. We can click each speaker, we can do time delay, but also here on the computer, one of the nice things that's better than the Bluetooth, you can actually adjust the EQ curve independently for each speaker. So I can EQ down right there for the front right, and the front left, it's where it was. So if I want to tune down certain speakers in the system, or I want to EQ certain speakers, this could come into play if you had mid basses, three ways, whatever, but it's cool that you have that option, or you can just have them do all and it'll adjust both speakers not independently, it'll adjust them both together. Right here I have the rear left speaker selected. Here's the high pass frequency. I can select what kind of crossover I want, I can select what frequency I want, and I can select if I want 6, 12, 18, or 24 dB. So on the Bluetooth it only showed 6 and 12. I'm assuming it's because the drop window goes to 6 or 12. If I would have took my finger and maybe slid up, I think 18 and 24 would have appeared. That's kind of a flaw in that Bluetooth app, now that I see that, because I wouldn't have known to do that. In my mind it was just 6 and 12, but I bet if we slide up with our finger it'll show us 18 and 24, since that's an option here and they're the same thing. So you do have 18 and 24 dB options. You have your low pass, your high pass crossovers. Right here's channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5, channel 6, whatever. This is your RCA outputs. Here I can select whether I want the front to be left, right. I can have that be rear, left, right. I can have that be center, tweeter, woofer, or full range. I can have that be subwoofer. I can do that for every one of these, so I can independently set what each channel is going to actually do. So if I want to have a special center channel, I want to have a special three-way setup, I want to have anything like that, I can do it from here. Link output. Link output allows me to copy from left to right or from right to left. So if you don't want to set each one of these speakers like this independently and make sure you got it exactly right, huge pain in the ass, set the left speaker and then I'll go ahead and copy from left to right, and it will copy everything I did on the left speaker over to the right side. So now I don't have to try and balance them out or go back and forth and make sure I've got the numbers exactly the same. So it's pretty simple to use. You've got a ton of flexibility, and when I tell you guys the price point, the MSRP on it, that's when this thing really shines. Because most people are going to look at this and be like, oh, that's $400 or $500 DSP. Yeah, it'd be nice to have that. But no. At the end, I'll go ahead and put the MSRP. The pricing on these are stupid, which makes this thing super valuable and able to be had by anybody and to make your system sound better. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 8-channel. It's all the same, but there's just a dash mount, so let's take a look and see what kind of differences that does. Okay, so we've looked at the 6-channel. We've now got the 8-channel hooked up, the GDSP-4800. I've got it hooked into the power supply, got it powered up. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this USB so I can turn around. So that is the dash mount. The display that you get, basically, this is the volume. So you turn it up and down and it says volume. So as I crank it up, it goes up to volume 66. I crank it down, volume's down. On the lower left hand side it says input aux 1. On the lower right hand side it says preset default. So as you can see on the display there, it's pretty cool. Dot matrix display. If I click on the volume, it mutes, and if I hold on the volume, it actually pops up and asks for what input I want. If I hold it for longer, it pops up and asks for what preset you want. So right now it says default D and it says loading. From what I can tell, that's pretty much all this dash does, is it allows you to change what the input is and allows you to change what your preset is. Now, if we take it and we plug in this USB, so now we've got the USB plugged in, double click on it to open up the CD-ROM. We should be loading up the software for the 8-channel just like we did the 6-channel. On the 6-channel, remember it popped up that it had an exe file. So on the 4800, there's a whole bunch of other folders on here. Ignore them all. You're just looking for the GDSP 4800 EXE. Okay, so we have the 8 channel. The 8 channel is hooked up to the computer. The interface is definitely different than the 6 channel. It's darker. It's got a lot more features to it. It's got a 31 band EQ as opposed to a 10 band EQ. It's got those bubbles here for the equalizer, and this is how you can adjust the EQ up and down. So you can actually pull these up, see how your frequency is going to look. But then to change the frequency, you can drag these bubbles left and right, and you can actually see where it's changing the frequency number. So this can all be changed all crazy and out of order and however you want to do it. So it's way more graphical interface is way better than the 6 channel. It's got a lot more to offer. Over here you have your input select. We have aux 1, aux 2, and aux 3, which was your channels 1, 2, 3. That was listed on the side. Now if you were going to run just a signal RCA in, you could do that just into aux 1. Then you could run another source into aux 2. If you have a head unit with front, rear, and sub outputs, and you want to run all 3 of those inputs in, you would go down here to aux mode, switch that to 6 channel. Then if you look now, all you have is aux 1, because basically it combined all of them into, you're running front, rear, sub, you're running signal from one source into all those inputs. So that's pretty much how most people would use it, unless you're using your factory radio, which right here has high level, and that you would select high level for those. On priority, you can set the priority to what input. Suppose that means when it boots up, that's going to be the first source that this handheld, or that this dash is always going to go to. So it's always going to be that priority of input. So we'll set that to aux 1. Digital mode, you can set it as coaxial or optic if you're running, or optical if you're running coax, or digital. Sorry, I'm getting all crossed over my words here. Here you have channel 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8. You can set each one of these is basically a speaker, and you can set it as front left, front right, rear left, rear right. You can set it as a tweeter or woofer. You can set it as a center channel, subwoofer, whatever you want. And then after you have it selected, right here you have channel 1 selected. This EQ up here is going to represent channel 1, and you can go ahead and make adjustments to that speaker right here with this EQ, and you're affecting that speaker. If you want to adjust the left and right at the same time, you want to go down here to link. You click that. You can select copy left to right or copy right to left. Right now I've got the left speaker selected, so I'll say copy left to right. I click OK. That has now linked. Right here you can see these little icons down at the bottoms. It has linked these channels. So channel 1 and 2 are linked, channel 3 and 4 are linked, channel 5 and 6, and channel 7 and 8. So if I make adjustments here to this channel 1 and I move this EQ curve up all over the place, whatever I want to do, if I select channel 2, the EQ curves are still the same. As you can see, they're all adjusted. Over here is your crossovers, just like the other one. So you can select what type of crossover you want for each channel. High pass and low pass, so the band pass crossover networks. You can select the frequency by clicking on it. You can type in whatever number you want to be the frequency. But this one on its octaves, this has 12 dB, 24, 36, 48, and off. So you have those options as far as what octave you want to run your crossover at, which is how steep the slope is going to be. Now the one thing I've had a problem with is, here's my handheld, and as you can see up here it says disconnect. That means I'm not connected to this box right now. This is all me just showing you guys this. Now this says PC on it, and this USB. I should be able to plug that USB in right there, and that's running to the computer, and I should be able to connect and make adjustments. I would imagine while this is on the dash, so I can make adjustments on the fly. I'm not able to make that work. I'm not really sure why. The USB port does feel like it is set back a little too far. Like it may be this surround is keeping it from going in, but this is the USB that came with the unit, and I'm pretty sure both sides are the same. I mean, I'll flip-flop and see if maybe one's got a longer neck on it than the other. Feels the exact same, doesn't feel any different, and we'll plug it in here. So I don't see anything happening. But if I disconnect this USB from the dash mount, unplug the blue 3.0 USB port that's running to the dash mount, plug in directly from the computer to the actual unit, I hear the computer click, this little arrow turned green, and as you can see, it's loading. It says connecting. So I'm not sure what's going on as to why I can't connect to the computer through this port. Okay, so we just got done showing the 8-channel DSP. We did come across a couple hiccups. So what I'm going to do now, before I can actually finish out this review and do kind of a conclusion to the end of what I think and let you guys know if this product is something that I would use or that you should use, I'm going to call Genius right now, find out why I was having a problem connecting to the computer from the dash mount display, and also there was one more question I had, Bluetooth. I want to ask them why the 8-channel is popping up Bluetooth as a source option when this does not have Bluetooth. The 6-channel, everything seemed to function and work exactly the way I wanted. The 8-channel has a ton more features, it has a lot more to it, and would be kind of the go-to choice for anybody that's really serious about audio. The 6-channel would be great for somebody that's just new or just an entry-level system. The 6-channel is going to be fine. But I have a feeling this 8-channel is going to be like the bigger seller, the bigger mover, and we definitely got to find out what those two hiccups are before I can actually do a conclusion video. So let me go ahead and make those phone calls and I'll get back to you. Okay, so we're back. I did call Genius and I got some answers as to what was going on. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back up onto the computer screen here. I have the software pulled up. I have the box hooked up with the USB here to the dash display. Then I have a USB going from here to the computer, and as you can see it says PC Connect. Up here in the corner it says connected. So we are connected through the front port. The problem was the USB port or the USB cable that they sent, it was too short. As I suspected when I said I plugged it in, it kind of felt like the USB wasn't actually making the full connection. They sent me a photograph of what the USB should look like, and it was supposed to be a USB port that was standard on one end, like, you know, just normal length, and then the other end it was almost a quarter to half as much longer as the other one, and that longer end is supposed to go into the dash mount unit. Now, whether someone in Florida or South America or wherever they was, this box was a display unit that they sent me. This unit was on display already, so it had already been opened. So if somebody just got USB cables confused, or they just grabbed one off a desk and threw it in there for my benefit, not realizing that there was a difference, I'm not sure. But I happen to have another cable, USB cable, that was a little bit longer. So I went ahead and plugged it in and it works fine. So I've let them know about the issue. I've let them know that they're going to have to check their inventory and make sure that they have the proper USB in there. And from this point moving on, I'm going to assume they're going to do that. And if that's the case, then this thing does work fine. With it PC connected like this, now I can go through, make any settings I want, make any changes I want to do, save the presets. It'll load right into the machine, and then from the dash mount I can adjust presets, volume, and inputs. Now, the one thing that didn't have an answer for was why this says Bluetooth here. Input select Bluetooth. That was not answered for me. And on the dash display, you can actually select your source if you hold it and go through, and one of the sources is phone. They didn't have an answer for me on that. I'm not really too concerned about that, other than it can cause confusion for the end consumer. Someone that buys it, puts it on their computer, they see that, they think it has Bluetooth, then they spend hours and hours trying to figure out how to get their Bluetooth to work. It does not have Bluetooth. I have looked all over the place. I've tried to connect to it. I've looked for an antenna. I don't see anything about Bluetooth. It doesn't say anything about Bluetooth. I'm going to look at that as just a small hiccup because I never thought it had Bluetooth based on the box and the instructions. So it's not like I didn't get something I thought I was getting. If it advertised they had Bluetooth that didn't, then we'd have a problem. But as far as everything else goes, now it's connected. I was able to save presets. I was able to upload them into the machine, then I was able to pull them back out with the actual dash mount unit. I like anything that's technologically like advanced, kind of cool, gives me options to do something to my audio system, like kind of behind the scenes that you normally wouldn't have. That's very cool. The 6-channel, it's very simplistic. It does the job, it does everything it's supposed to. It does have Bluetooth, and its retail, or its MSRP, is ridiculous. This thing is only $153 MSRP, so that's their suggested retail price, is 153 bucks. That alone makes this a definite buy, just for the simple fact that you can get it in at such a low price point, and you can utilize it for, hell, if you just want to use it just for a pair of mid basses in your doors to get that bandpass crossover that most amplifiers don't have. Really high-end amplifiers will have bandpass crossovers or some, multi-channels, but if you don't have that already and you want to get a bandpass network, this right here is going to do it for you, and you can do it, 6 different times. So as far as that goes, yes, this is a definite buy. At $153, I can almost guarantee you will probably see one of these in my car or my wife's car. She has a Toyota Prius with the factory stereo system. It actually has a DSP in it right now. We are running the Metra Access DSP with the plug-and-play T-harness. I am curious to see how this would do in place of the Access DSP, just to see if this may work a little bit better for her. If I can find some extra time, which is hard to do between doing videos, reviews, shops, building cars, car shows, I will try to figure out a way to do that, and if I do that, I will do a follow-up review with this being used in the car. But I like it. I like how it's all anodized aluminum. It's a pretty neat piece. So this is a definite buy. So this would be good for someone who's just getting into doing a DSP for the first time. Not really complicated. The instructions are pretty well laid out, and you can go to YouTube, or you can go on videos, or hell, you can call someone like me, and it's pretty easy. If you explain anything that you see on the screen to us, we know what it is, and we could walk you through what you want to do. So the 8-channel. The 8-channel is pretty nice. It's definitely geared more towards the professional. It's geared more towards the high-end guys that really know what they're getting into. The interface has more flexibility in it as far as the 6-channel does. It also has 31 bands of EQ as opposed to 10. It's just got a lot more features that a high-end or professional audiophile is going to appreciate. The price, though, is what I appreciate. This being what I would consider a high-end professional entry one, MSRP is $290. And again, MSRP is manufacturer's suggested retail price. It's very rare that you find things sold at MSRP, so $290 is the highest you will ever see that thing priced. You probably get a pretty good deal, less than $290. At that price, this thing gets real interesting. It really gets me kind of paying attention to it, because other units that I've seen from other companies that are DSPs that have what this one has are floating more around the $400, $500, hell, I've seen some $700 and $800 DSPs that don't really have much more than this other than a different brand name on them. And personally, I don't care about the brand name at all. You're not going to see this unit more than likely, and who cares what it says as long as it performs. So at $290, this is a definite buy. If you're just a Joe Schmo, got a factory head unit, want to put some bumps in there, or you just want to kind of have some tweaking to do with some front and rear speakers and some subs, go with the 6-channel. This would be overkill. You don't need all this horsepower. But if you're the kind of guy that knows what a set of bi-amped speakers are, a 3-way setup in the front, or if you want to have bandpass crossed over sub basses, mid basses, or something in your doors, if all that's something that kind of goes along in your car, or you know what all that means, then the 8-channel is going to be the one that you want, because that's going to allow you to tweak your car, set it up exactly the way you want, have all those frequencies pitched, have all the crossovers set exactly where you want. My name is Cabe Sipes from Custom Audio Reimagined. I'll see you in the next video.
From Atlanta all the way to Indiana, with cars by Kate.